All right, Shalom. For the fourth, we'll give our praise, glory, and honor to you. How about you, outside? About Shem HaMakah, Kodash, Baruch Thumb. Double honor to your apostle and elder, great millstone, and to our Akim and the Aqua, the Akim and the Aqua out there listening. You know, I'm going to say Shalom. This is our diet now from the Great Millstone Campus, Chicago. All right, and Salakia for the noise in the background. You know, I got my fan on. It's getting hot here, and it's getting hot out here. All right, but nonetheless, I got this YouTube page from called Straight Up. The gentleman does very very good videos on genetics and real history and whitewashing and things like that. And I've been watching this for a couple of weeks. I've been trying to dissect it and break it down because there's an abundance of information here. You know, it's a very good page. I recommend a subscription to it. All right, but I'm just gonna point out a couple of parts. You know, but Lord willing, it's edifying. I'm gonna start here at the 39-minute mark, and we're gonna go from there.
And those four would be 1, act of God, 2, pure accidents, 3, fraudulent accidents, and 4, war. Now there may be more, but these are the ones that I've read about. So what do I mean by act of God? What I mean are things that happen naturally, like fires, floods, tornadoes, earthquakes.
And what he's referencing are books and photos and paintings and statues that are housed up in all the institutions across America and Europe. You know, we're now in the museums and in so many, a lot of these prestigious colleges. You know, your Stanfords, your Yales, your Harvards, okay, and a lot of hospitals. Like a hospital played a big part in eugenics and whitewashing of the accomplishments and the importance of people of color, as you like to refer them to. All right. So we give you 4 lists of things of how these things could be destroyed. All right, or how these things were destroyed.
Hurricanes, etc. All these situations can occur without people's intervention. Then for number 2, you have pure accidents. These situations can occur due to leaving a candle burning and it gets knocked over, or maybe a water pipe that bursts in a building. All right, so for number 3, I have fraudulent accidents. These are situations that are intentionally done to destroy property or cause fear. These are strategically planned events. An example would be setting a fire in a building. By doing so, it removes any trace of the original one-of-a-kind documents, paintings, books, journals, carvings, movies, etc. All right, in 4th position on the list, I have wars. During wars, people, buildings, statues, museums, archives get destroyed as collateral damage, or often on purpose. This is often a military strategy to demoralize a population by destroying cultural and historical icons and landmarks and replace them with the invading army's culture and values. What I'm going to
Right, so, you know, a couple of scriptures came to mind. All right, it says that they would use war, all right, and what's the word? Fraudulent accidents, okay, to destroy evidence and destroy historical records and proof, all right, of the contributions of the people of color of the land they invaded, okay? Let's get this real quick. Oppress, man. This is man's heritage. This is Micah 2:2. I'm start at 1. It said, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand." All right, so you have to sit around and really get together with people with like-minded people, wicked people, all right, to make your plan go forth, to come to fruition. So they make up narratives, false narratives, to go into countries to invade, all right, to plunder the resources of the people. Okay? All right, this is the power that they have, man. All right, you know, as you watch the video, You got big major players. You got Woodrow Wilson and Teddy Roosevelt and Howard Taft and Carnegie and Rockefeller. All these people were confederate with each other. All right, to the um uh uh what's the word, to the covering up, all right, of the people of color's contribution and the things that they've done to them through history, man. So woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it's in the power of their hand. It says, and they covered fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. All right. So you say that they will go because when you go in there and you demoralize, one way to demoralize the people, all right, it's to forgetting, is to have them not being able to read and research or look at their history. All right, they can no longer go to the libraries and look up certain things. All right, the remembrance of the statues of the people, of their kings, and important people like that. They are burned and torn down and taken away. All right, to the point to where you push their heritage back into the Stone Age, man. The civilization back into the Stone Age. All right, so where they have no more access to their identity. All right, no more access to their culture. Okay, and this is evident in the scriptures. All right, when Nebuchadnezzar came and took all the goodly gifts and treasures and vessels out of the temple, man. All right, the Archetypus. All right, which shows them taking the menorah. All right, and what they don't tell you is that the sacking of Jerusalem in 70 A.D. All right, that is what built the Roman Colosseum. Okay, the Roman Colosseum was paid for by the treasures and the vessels that they took out of Jerusalem, man. All right. Right, the troubled sea, mire and dirt. Isaiah 57:20 said, but the wicked are like the troubled sea when it cannot rest, with waters cast up mire and dirt. All right, and they are, man. They go from nation, country to country. All right, taking over, starting wars, burning down books, taking over the statues of vessels and treasures, hiding them. Okay, they hide them to that generation past and all that. Then they begin to write other books. All right, put them as the inhabitants. All right, or the victors of that land that they just invaded. And what do they leave behind? A trail of murder, a trail of poverty, all right, a trail of wickedness, man.
Show you now is how these wealthy individuals and these philanthropic organizations use their money and influence to spread the eugenic ideology within the United States and around the world. By doing so, they were able to appropriate the world's real history with their own version of whitewashed history. Now I'm going to have to condense this down so it won't be hours long. However, I will be creating a video to go more in depth on this topic. But for now, I'm just going to give you enough to show you how it happened. As I mentioned previously, there are 4 scenarios where a society or culture would have to recreate its history. The first 2, act of God and pure accidents, are viable scenarios that have occurred throughout history. Although one can take advantage of these 2 situations, I'm choosing not to focus on them for now. Alright, so let me start with the third scenario. I named it fraudulent accidents. There have been many of these occurrences in American and European history. They mainly take the form of setting fire to buildings such as archives, libraries, museums, churches, or homes. Unfortunately, setting fire to a structure is easy and very inexpensive. It often has a desired effect of destroying much, if not all, of the contents.
And there's historical records of Nero burning down Rome and blaming it on Jake. All right, the Boston Tea Party was not what they teach you in school. Because in all actuality, they had there was Edomites dressed up as Indians, okay, All right, who destroyed all the tea, set fire to the ships. All right, and they blamed it on Gad. That was the reason for them to further try to exterminate Gad, man. All right, so these things are not totally out of the blue, but they're actual historical records of these events.
Then destruction. Once the contents in a building have been consumed by fire and destroyed, it is gone forever. If these items were one-of-a-kind originals like paintings, books, manuscripts, carvings, clothing, then they are lost for all time. If the items destroyed were able to be copied, like books for instance, then the information would still exist. Unfortunately, in the past, there were many important one-of-a-kind books. As you can imagine, this creates the perfect opportunity for whoever is in power to replace the items with whatever version they want. For instance, paintings can be recreated to reflect someone in the same pose, style of clothing, etc., but then be an entirely different person. Books can be recreated with the same stories, but with new engravings, pictures, and photos. Paintings that survived a fire and were just smoke damage can be overpainted. Overpainting was common in the past. What has also occurred over time is eugenics educators have convinced their students that certain words don't mean what they originally meant, like dark complexion, brown complexion, and brunette, or phrases like tall, dark, and handsome. Please understand that just about anything can be recreated by master craftsmen, publishers, painters, etc. This is what I...
Right, man, so you already know where we're going to go, right? How they painted the images, man. All right, because that's what Esau does, man. He goes around and he wants to be Jake. Paint. This is First Maccabee 3 and 48, and laid open. I'm just trying to right. This with First Maccabee 3 and 45. Now Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness. There was none of her children that went in or out. The sanctuary also was trodden down, and aliens kept the stronghold. The heathen had their habitation in that place, and joy was taken from Jacob, and the pipe with the harp ceased. Wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Mizpah over against Jerusalem, for Mizpah was the place where they prayed aforetime in Israel. They fasted. Then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their heads and rent their clothes, and laid open the book of the law where the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images, man. All right, so that was the MO, all right, of Esau Edom. All right, when they conquered people, they would go and oppress their heritage by whitewashing it, by painting over their paintings, knocking off noses. You see? Hey, this man is a damn devil, man. All right, this man is a damn devil. Come on, let's get this. Well, let's get this. Account of his labors. Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 1. There shall a righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made him no account of his labors. All right, because when you go into this video more, and I'm not gonna get it. All right, I suggest brothers and sisters really watch it. But it's talking about how Woodrow Wilson, or not Woodrow Wilson, Teddy Roosevelt, all right, had led up. He had a group called the Rough Riders. All right, and he had used the Buffalo Soldiers to take up that hill. I think it's San Juan Hill, San Pedro Hill, whatever. All right, and ensured victory for Theodore Roosevelt. All right, but in his books, in his diary, he had put that the only reason why that had happened like that because they were under the guidance of a white leader, man. All right, nobody takes in consideration the amount of the importance. Okay, the factor a major factor that the people of color, as he puts it, but we know they're the Israelites. Okay, had an impact on America, man, on civilization as a whole. All right, you see, they will burn down our patent offices, man. All right, they will steal our patents. They will steal our ideas. They downplayed the importance and role that we had in building up America, man. So much so that DeSantis in Florida wants to take it out the history books all the accomplishments of the so-called Negroes and Native Americans. All right? Let's get this. They speak loftily against oppression. Psalm 73. We'll get to the point. It says, shoot. I was going to start at one. All right, it says Psalm 73:1. Truly the Most High is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. All right, now just imagine that you know who you are. Here you are in your land. You got these beautiful statues and these paintings and this rich culture and history. Here comes Esau Edom with his war machine, and no one's able to stop him. All right, and that's what King David here was talking about, man. Well, Psalm of Asaph. All right, for there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. All right, because you know you go earlier on in that documentary, talking about how these high places of the high learning institutions, your Harvards, your Yales, your Stanfords, okay? All right, they were all had a part in suppressing historical records of the men of color, of the Israelites. I'm going to say men of color, of the Israelites, man. Namely, Judah Benjamin Levi. Well, really, both kingdoms by this time. You see? All right? You're not in trouble with other men, man. You know, you had presidents involved in this. You had private citizens who had money that was involved in this, man. All right? They weren't in trouble with other men. Their strength is firm. They are not in trouble with other men, neither are they played like other men. Therefore, pride compasses them about as a chain. Violence covers them as a garment. All right, it's not setting fire to someone's history and library. Is that not violence? Is that not them trying to cut them off from being a nation? So the eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than their heart could wish. Hey, even by this time they were doing that, they already had the earth was already given it to them. You see, but they forwarded the affliction. All right, they made themselves as the Lord. All right. It says they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. All right, not giving us the credit. All right, that Jake does deserve. All right. And building up this nation, man. The White House and all these roads. Okay? And let's not talk about the contribution to science, to health, you see, to food, to traffic lights, combustible engines. You see? They set themselves up as the Israelites taking credit for our work, taking credit for Yahweh Shai Shai's work, man. All right, then we came over, now to create a narrative that we came over here voluntarily on ships, man. Who volunteers to be brought on the ship, all right, and to be excremented on, period blood dropped on, vomiting, who volunteers for that, man? You see? So they set their mouth against the heavens and the tongue walking through the earth. Right, man, they set their mouth against the Lord, man. All right? And what they say goes, man. All right? Therefore, as people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out to them. All right? Let's get some more of this video.
Suggesting happened. During times of chaos and confusion, like during the fog of war, where communities are being destroyed, many things can be accomplished, good or bad. So let's look at some of the places that were destroyed by fire in the United States. The first one I'd like to look at is the Library of Congress, which was destroyed by fire on October 8, 1814. According to the loc.gov website, which is the Library of Congress website, the library was destroyed along with the Capitol building stemming from the War of 1812. The British Army destroyed several buildings: the White House, the U.S. Treasury, U.S. Patent Office, and the National Intelligencer newspaper. After the fire, Thomas Jefferson offered to sell his private collection of over 6,000 books to replace the books that were lost, and eventually Congress purchased them. There was also a mystery surrounding the original collection of books and if they were actually saved or not. That said, I'm sure you can imagine that many one-of-a-kind items were destroyed, never to be replaced. I'm not as concerned with the first burning of the Library of Congress because, in my opinion, white supremacy had no major political power at that time, and historical whitewashing had not taken place yet in the United States or in Europe. Alright, so moving along. According to accessiblearchives.com, in 1851, the Library of Congress was again ravaged by fire. 35,000 out of 55,000 books were destroyed, paintings, busts, manuscripts, letters, very valuable information was lost. Yet again, Congress had to appropriate funds to build a new collection. In my opinion, with each destructive fire comes the opportunity to change information or hide it like it never happened. Keep in mind, the people that were eyewitnesses to the historical events that were written about were generally dead years prior to the publishing of the text. So essentially, there is no one to protest if the recreated books have incorrect or misleading information.
Right, when they say to the victors write the history, or something like that. All right, but our history already been written in the scriptures, man. And we're going to get this Wisdom of Solomon real quick. Wisdom of Solomon 2. It's always like to start, but let me see. This is Wisdom of Solomon 2. This is Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 10. So let us oppress the poor, righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Therefore, lock you. It says, so let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he's not for our turn. And he's clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objective to our infamy, the transgressings of our education, man. All right? We know that Esau is a very foul man. All right? And the things that he does is all about control and power. All right, if he can cut you off from your hair, let's get this, cut you off from being a nation. All right, he knows that he has you. If you have no strength to draw upon, okay? We have no inspiration, okay? This is Psalm 83. Let's start at 2. Keep going on 1. It says, keep not thy, Psalm 83 and 1. Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O the Most High. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They're taking crafty counsel against our people, and consulted against our hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. And it goes down to the list of nations, to the main one is being Edom. All right? And one way to take a people's heritage is to take away their books, take away their history, take away their artifacts, their vessels, their treasures, all right, their records. You see? And rewrite history and put yourselves in their shoes. Now for hundreds of years, you got people thinking that, the Egyptians are white. All right? The Hebrews were white. The people over there in that land are the Israelites and things of that nature, man. You see? All this was done by design, man. All right? And part of that design was destroying the artifacts.
Here's an example for you. 4 valuable busts were destroyed in the second Library of Congress fire. They were likenesses of Washington, Jefferson, Lafayette, and General Taylor, all of whom had died years before. Now I'm suggesting when the busts got recreated, they were changed to look like the person that commissioned them wanted them to look like. Alright, so take a look at this coin. It is the Indian head cent. According to Wikipedia.com, it was created by James Barton Longacre. He was an American portraitist and engraver, and the 4th chief engineer of the United States Mint from 1844 until his death. Longacre is best known for his design of the Indian head cent, which entered commerce in 1859, and for the design of the shield nickel, flying eagle cent, and other coins of the mid-19th century. Reading from a paragraph from the website U.S. Coins and Jewelry, it reads, as we mentioned, this Indian head portrait, not a Native American profile, but apparently modeled after James Barton Longacre's daughter, Sarah. It is rumored that she was at the Mint visiting her father when she tried on the Indian headdress of Sitting Bull. Her father saw her and sketched her, hence the image of the obverse side of the coin was born. Of course, everyone knows Longacre's daughter did not represent what an Indian looked.
It doesn't go to show you, man, he's a forger of lies, man. We say he was speaking with lies, speaking of his own. John 8:44, ye are your father the devil, the lust of your father you would do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he's a liar and the father of it, man. All right, and that's all Esau does. He goes around, he lies, he manipulates, he doctors up papers, he doctors up statues and relics. All right, to portray himself as some great God or some great power, man. All right, but his lust for control and greed and power is going to be his demise. Okay. All right. So he shall destroy the covering cast. End it on that. Covering cast. It says, Isaiah 25:7. It says, and he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all the people, and the veil that is spread over all nations, man. All right, Esau that anointed cherub that covers, man. All right, and that lies, the propaganda, the whitewashing, the rewriting of history, okay, it was covered the nation. He covered the world in lies with his lies. All right, but the Lord is going to destroy that. And he's destroying it right now with information like this. You got the man of the Lord on highways and byways doing these lessons, okay, letting you know that this man cannot be trusted, man. All right, you see? So he will swallow up death and victory, and the Lord Yahweh will wipe away tears from off all faces, and the rebuke of his people shall he take away from off all the earth. The Lord has spoken it, man. All right. With that, I want to say, call Allah, yeah, watch me outside. Don't want to see apostles and the elder of the great millstone. Next time, Shalom and a Bible bar.